Howdy, folks. Brian Kusko here at Redline Report, and today we got a treat for you. We've got Mark Ryland, Khaleesi's Dragons and Jungle Cages, and he's got some captive-hatched, captive-born baby croc monitors that he's going to share with us today and talk about how he's been working with croc monitors to get them to be like super docile. And I'm super excited to have him on. You're watching Redline Report, brought to you by Redline Shipping.
Nick had one up for sale on Facebook. I messaged him. I didn't ship cages at the time. So then I called Nick. He was like, well, I didn't ship. So he was like, I couldn't do anything to it. Then Peter called me not even 30 minutes later and said, if you want a female, I can get you a female. So he worked out a deal on the trade and I got the parents.
So with the enclosures, how long have you been working on those? Like, how long have you been making enclosures?
I've been building enclosures 13, 14 years now.
You get that thing a little closer. I know the lizard's there, but yeah, you want to be. There you go.
I'm trying to get where this one's a little bit more visible.
Yeah, totally.
Come here, little buddy.
Yeah, I can help you out. Oh, here he comes. He's on his way up.
Yeah, we'll just keep going.
So how long had you been doing the enclosures for?
Well, the enclosures came from, I had a pet store here in Castle Rock. Like everybody, money's tight. So I started building my own stuff and then people came in, they wanted a cage, started building it. So I went through the PVC stage and then the HDP plastic and then I just settled with the ABS.
Well, why was it that you settled? Like, what is it about ABS versus
PVC?
PVC?
Every cage has a flaw. So, I wanted something that kind of took all the problems out of it. Like I don't do any swinging doors. Everything's sliding glass because I got bitten from a reticket in the face from a drop-down door. So I don't trust them with the sliding doors. You can maneuver a little bit better. Everybody was doing PVC. At the time, the PVC was very easy to scratch and mar up. So I didn't like that. And I wanted to always do something different and better. So with the ABS, it's chemically welded, holds water, pretty much will last you forever. I got cages out there for 15 years and they still look brand new.
Wow.
So
that's amazing. I might need to get some. I saw a bunch of Nick's place that you built.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes.
they're really clean. And I was doing a live stream and people were commenting like on the stream, like, wow, look at those enclosures back there.
Yeah, the only downside of that is the shipping's more. But I want to start following Nick around doing all the shows. So if people want to place their orders, I can just haul them to that show and they can pick them up there.
There you go.
So.
Why is shipping more? Because you can't flat pack them, or because
they're put together. So once you get them put together, you're not taking them apart. So,
gotcha.
And then the downside is if you need a big cage in a small room, you have to be within 30 inches on some diameter because you can't get them in doorways or through the door. That's the downside to my cages. Other than that, good.
Let's talk about these croc monitors.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're so cool. They obviously have a stigma in the hobby, maybe rightfully so because of the crazy teeth that they have and the insane damage that they can do.
Yes.
Now that said, like you've got that big Floki out there.
Right.
And Floki's
is like 2 years old.
2 years old. Okay, so still kind of in some senses like a teenager or something.
Correct.
And just so like I remember that first time that we had this show here. Nick and I came over and he just passed him off to us and it was just chilling and crawling on our heads.
That's just like with the babies. I work with them constantly. So when I hatch them out every day, I spend time with them. I try to do at least 30 minutes to an hour on each baby.
And so it's just that time spent interacting with a human.
Correct. And I work with them the minute they're out of their egg. So they smell my scent. They know the smell of a human is not going to try to eat them. And that kind of carries on.
Yeah.
And then also, you can put a shirt in their cage with your smell on it. That's a trick that I've used for many years with the monitors. So.
And it obviously works. I mean, they're so docile and I mean they're highly intelligent. Yes.
Yes. Yes, extremely. And I think that's why with the captive breds, they're so intelligent. They're going to realize that they can trust you if you're a good handler, more than, an animal that's, I love blackthroats, so don't ever take me wrong, but kind of that dumber, bigger lug animal. These guys are thinking the whole time you're working with them, and they just learn trust. I mean, and that's the beauty. That's why I love the Crocs, because if I could have Komodos, I would, but Crocs is that level. So with these little guys, they're just great. I mean,
He had a little. He had a little. I mean, obviously, the top of the head. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. And he was almost kind of sleeping there when he touched him. He had that little
yeah,
flinch.
that
Where,
little jerk, yeah, that's just normal to get him to wake up. But you can see when I touch him, there's no tail curl. So tail curl is the first sign of stress. So if he got scared, it would literally just curl tight.
yeah, I've seen them like that, where their tail is wrapped up like a snail shell or whatever.
Right.
And it's such a long tail. I mean, they have the
Yeah,
longest tail of all the monitors.
Yeah, 2/3 of their body.
Man, it's highly impressive. Gosh, so cool. I would love to have. I haven't kept any monitor of any kind, just because.
Okay.
I know I don't have the time or the space requirements.
Right.
You know,
right.
I feel like that's a lot different. Something an animal like this, you need to be able to dedicate some time, some space.
Correct. When I got my male, he was already full grown, very aggressive. The guy I got it from pretty much always used bite-proof gloves when he needed to clean the cage to get him in and out. If I put on bite-proof gloves now, he's ready to fight me. But I can take the gloves right off and touch his chin. So they know that glove means I'm going to get roughhoused. So I used to sit by his cage with it open and go look at YouTube channels of reptiles and just be this far away from him and just not pay attention to him. And then he gets curious and he would look, and I'd slowly let him smell me. And then they figure it out pretty quick. They're so smart.
Yeah, that's amazing. How long did it take before, like, when the first time you handled? Sorry, multiple questions. How old was he when you got him?
We're guessing 5.5.
Okay, and how soon from after getting him were you able to handle him with bare hands?
6 months.
Okay, so it took time.
Yes, and that's more my part.
Yeah,
He was ready. I didn't know if I was ready.
sure.
Because one bite,
It can be
you're hurt.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to take time.
Sure.
So it's really, learning the trust between me and him. And so he had to feel that from me. If I'm nervous, they're sensing that. They're predators. You're scared, you're going to put off a hormone. They're going to sense that hormone. Then they're going to think what's going on. So when I'm ready, then he was already ready, because he would come to me and look at me through, the door.
Yeah.
So it's, kind of like the dogs. The dogs know when you're stressed, so they get stressed. So it's really, you both have to be ready and not push them hard, just small steps. So.
What was the moment when you decided you wanted to work with Croc? What was it that made you want to work with Croc monitors, and how did you?
I think the first time I saw a Croc at a show, probably about 15 years ago. And at the time, wild caughts were going probably $6,000-$7,000. And so I started researching them, because I've had monitors all my life. But that was the pinnacle. And when you're working with monitors, it's an addiction. They're so interactive. You want it to really just have the best of the best. So never could afford one. Most people can't. With Peter, we worked out the trade. Wife wasn't happy until these hatch out. So now I can buy whatever I want, and she has no problem with it. So that's the beauty of it, with dealing with the wife and having big animals that cost a lot of money. You just gotta baby steps to get there. So
Yeah, it's cool, man. Well, it's definitely paying off. I mean, even just that first moment, that small moment that Nick and I got to have for that few minutes at the first show.
Right.
I mean, for me, like I never forgot that. It was like the pinnacle moment of the show for me. And there's just something about, especially an animal that's known in the hobby, to like have that, like, oh yeah, be kind of careful,
Right.
Just be able to interact with it like you would interact with almost like a ball python.
Right.
It was really cool. And the work that you put in shows and is paying off dividends, I would say. Yeah, I think you recognize that.
Yeah.
But I would just say, even from an outside perspective, like, it paid off dividends just for me.
Right.
To be able
And
to have
there's
that
a lot
experience.
of wild caughts out there that people have done amazing jobs with. So, and I want to give them credit, because they're wild caughts. and they're very tame. But again, it comes to that trust, taking your time and not pushing it. Don't show off in front of your buddies, because that's when you're going to get bit.
Yeah.
And then you get rid of them. And then it goes to somebody else trying to figure it out. Just patient and stick with it.
Yeah. Awesome.
A little guy.
I was going to ask, like, what would be some advice for somebody who's wanted to keep a croc monitor and is, like, on the fence? Like, I think you may have kind of answered just there, but, like, what type of advice would you give?
Yeah, if you've worked with the big crocs or the big monitors and you're ready to move to that, it's really just reading your animal, watching your animal. I've had reptiles since I was 12 years old. I'm, 57 years old. So we didn't have all the technology everybody had. We had to watch our animals or we got hurt. So now there's tons of people willing to help you watch what they're doing, like their behavior. Every animal has a different behavior. Once you learn their behavior, then they're easy to read.
Would you say that, like, some time with other monitors would be advisable? Or, like, is there any chance?
Starting out?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think Ackies are always a good one to start with if you're younger. And then you got the rock monitors that are always my favorite. You start out with a Savannah, and that's a bigger lizard, big belly, kind of chunky, feel like you have something. Then white throats, and then into the black throats. Asians, love Asians, have a black dragon. Batshit crazy. You got to work with it. Now I know captive bred, some of them are coming out like this. So watch your animal. Here's a trick that I like to do. If I'm buying an animal, especially when I got my big male, first thing I asked Peter was, I want to watch you feed it. He goes, dude, it has no problem eating. I go, I'm sure it doesn't. I want to see its temperament. So he held the rat up and it turns his head sideways so he wouldn't bite the tongs. That's a thinker. Then I was like, okay, I'll take it. Because that shows that it's not running across the cage and just biting anything that's moving. I don't do live. If you do live, that's your opinion. I don't like to do it. I don't want them chasing something around the cage because that's how somebody's going to get bit. And I hand feed every time. Not hand feed with tongs, but I don't lay food in their cage. I want them to know I bring them food.
Gotcha. So. Yeah, it seems smart. That's cool, man. Well, Mark, I appreciate you taking a few minutes away from your table to share these beautiful animals with us. Anything, where can people follow what it is you do or get your enclosures?
We do the custom reptile cages. And we started the breeding side of it of Khaleesi's dragons by Jungle Cages. So you can always reach out on social media, TikTok, Instagram. We don't have a Facebook page for the breeding side yet. So that's our next steps like I said, I'm old. I'm not good at doing social media. So I know some of my videos are horrible. But it's just me being me.
Yeah, so. I think that makes it not horrible in my opinion. So you can also just link your Instagram to a Facebook page and you can post Instagram, it'll automatically post to both.
No,
so.
See, I didn't know that. So I'll have to get with you on that.
At least I can.
Maybe we can do a trade. You teach me to do what you do and we'll get you one of these.
That sounds like I'm getting the better end of that deal. But.
So anytime, these guys are just great little guys.
So great.
But I start them out young. That's the beauty of it.
It's awesome. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you coming over, man.
Appreciate you.
Really, really well done. Cool. Oh, yeah, we're good.
Good. Yep. You're good at this.
Thanks again, Mark, for bringing those on. Man, if I get to trade, just teaching him how to do Facebook for a croc monitor, that would be... I'm not ready for a croc monitor yet. I'm not ready for any monitor of any kind yet, but when I am, man, how cool would it be to have one of those babies? Just so cool. I wish you guys were here to experience it yourself. You should come to a show. Well, it sounds like he's going to come to most All-American shows, so you should definitely come and experience that. It's not like anything you'll ever experience with reptiles before or after. I can say that with fair certainty. Anyways, I'm geeking out. You guys, thank you for watching. Next week, we'll have another awesome interview for you right here on Redline Report. Until then, y'all take care.
Because I don't like being in front of a camera. Ask Weston. And I didn't even realize I was on camera. It was
there we
you
go.
and I.
All right.
So kudos to you, dude. You're good.
Right
Keep
on.
going.
Right on.
And that's why I even told my wife when you did the first video last year, she goes, well, people are going to probably reach out to you. And I go, well, I'll do Brian because he's the one that started it with me. You know, Peter with the first croc, my male, I'll keep that thing to the day it dies. I'll give it a huge room to live in and retire it and let it be happy, you know? So, but yeah, no, I appreciate that. You're good to talk to.
Right on.
So
Awesome.
appreciate that.